I want a good old boys, Bill, Chris, on the internet one day. Chris said to Neil, let's make a podcast, boy. Come on now, what do you say? Well, what will this podcast be about? Said Neil with a tear in his eye. We got stories that people tell each other from Louisiana Pie to the city of Mumbai. Oh, you mean urban legends. And the podcast was Urban Legends with Neil and Chris. You take care, y'all.
Hello and welcome to this week's Urban Legends, the podcast about urban legends and mysteries and monsters and UFOs and whatnot. I am Normcore enthusiast Chris Flynn, and with me, as ever, is a man who took the King's shilling. It's Mr.
Neil Herbert.
Hi, Neil. How's your week been?
Yeah, been good.
Yeah, it's a bit grey and rainy outside today. I think we're in for a turbulent time weather-wise over the next week or so. I've got my radiators on.
Yeah, I've just worn my coat for the first time today.
What, indoors?
No, I went out for a walk.
Oh.
It was quite warm, actually. But it's definitely getting more autumnal.
To be fair, I've got my radiators on, A, for heat, B, because my cats like it, but C, the main one is because I'm defrosting a couple of chicken Kievs against the radiator for my dinner later.
Nice.
Because I'm planning on getting food poisoning.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. So
let me know how you get on with that.
Bit of time off work, you know.
Well, why not?
Bit more time on the toilet, looking at social media. It's all good. It's all
probably
gravy.
Need to avoid the old bowels, don't you? It's like
of course, flush the
poor
system.
man's colostomy.
Poor man's colostomy.
Bunch of chicken Kievs don't come cheap these days.
No, they don't. But mine were on their date, so they were marked down, and I got them from a European-style cheap supermarket called Lidl.
Oh, I was going to say, how are they spelling those Kievs?
They're not spelling it Kiev.
No.
They presumably support Russia.
Traitor.
Lidl. So Neil, you took the King's shilling. May I ask what for? Are you a buccaneer nowadays, or you just what was the shilling for?
Yeah, well, I'm
were you gang busted onto a ship?
Yeah, I can't remember what that phrase is. Yeah, no, I'm a 19th century Napoleonic sailor, aren't I?
Napoleon. Yeah. Okay.
So I thought, a whole shiny shilling, and I get to roam the open seas.
They dropped it in your ale, didn't they? On the sneak.
Yeah, I was on the piss, and then they woke up on board a ship.
Yeah, dressed in your little outfit. Doot, doot.
Ranked landsman, third class.
So you're privateering or you're fighting Napoleon?
No, I'm on Her Majesty's, one of the Navy ships.
Oh, okay, so don't even get any of the nice booty.
Well, no, you get your share of the. So any French ships you blow up, you get a share of the prize money.
Splintered Woods. Oh, do you get prize money for the ships?
Yeah. According to all those Patrick O'Brien novels I read.
Oh, so it's like a fairgrounds sort of carnival sideshow thing where you kind of shoot at stuff and then you get a prize. Yeah,
well, basically the captain gets, I don't know, like 2/3,
teddy bear,
and then you get like 1/1,000,000th of their share or whatever. But,
yeah.
And how long? It's not too shabby.
What were you doing before?
I used to impersonate, I was a beggar, just like pretend I had various illnesses like leprosy or whatever.
Okay.
Arms. Yeah.
You're a grifter.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you glad to be aboard or not?
It's 3 square meals a day, isn't it? The constant seasickness is a bit.
Biscuits, lime and rum.
Hardtack and peas, yeah, and dried peas. Still, you know where your dinner's coming from, so that's something.
Yeah. Have you blown up many ships so far?
No. See, we're still waiting to blow up our first ship.
Oh, really?
Haven't actually got out of harbour yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they take one look at the crew?
Discipline's not going well on board.
There's already been 18 mutinies.
Yes.
You've only been aboard.
Captain's a bit of a prick, to be honest with you, so yeah.
Oh, really? And so how long do you have to serve?
He's had 5 crews killed.
Oh, really?
6 will be a charm. I'm sure.
So have you played it really politically so that you didn't get killed?
Oh, yeah, just do a lot of informing.
Oh, right.
Avoided good keel hauling myself that way.
You're a right little stool pigeon.
Yeah, hung from the yardarm or any of that sort of business.
Are you hoping to be his best
Flogged
boy?
with a cat o' nine tails. Look, none of that's true, Chris.
No, as in like
that rum's sodomy in the lash.
You know, as in his,
It's hard work and
semen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, will you come back and let us know if you ever manage to get out of docks?
Yeah, well, if you swing by Portsmouth anytime, then go look us up.
All right, we'll do.
See if I'm still in harbour.
Well, and thank the captain for giving you day release to do this podcast today, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, yeah, he's looking for some more crew, so yeah.
That's why I'm doing it
over
Zoom.
You can get sailing, sink some of those French ships.
Well, so if anyone listening wants to join the crew of Neil's historical sailing ship, then
travel back to 1812.
Yeah, just pop us an email.
The Battle of Trafalgar. That'd be
pop us an email. Yeah, we'll be able to sort you out nicely.
So, what exactly is normcore then, Chris?
Well, so
I know, but for our listeners,
yeah. So for a lot of people, it is, sort of being really into sort of what people call like normal stuff, like jumpers, sofas, microwave meals, that kind of thing. But I take a different slant on it, and my normcore is based on Norm from Cheers.
Okay,
so I've decked out my flat to look like the bar on Cheers. I wear kind of a brown
make a sardonic comment and then
sardonic comments. Yeah. I've got a VR headset that I put on, which gives me a POV view of a deep fake Ted Danson bearing down on me.
Is he looking a bit pixelated, or is he looking quite good these days? What would be more terrifying?
I'm normally because I'm drinking the whole time.
Oh yeah, you can't really tell. Yeah,
it's not too bad. I've got a robot version of Cliff Claverman who sits next to me and goes "Normie" like that.
Nice.
With his post bag.
Are you the Rebecca or the whatever the other one was called? Period. Because there was two different
birds.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember. There was
different love interests.
Yes.
I'm a Carla man myself.
Oh, fair enough. Well, she was throughout, wasn't she? I can't remember who was. What was
Married
the lady's name? It was the original one.
Diane and
it was. Yeah, Sam and Diane.
Diane and then Rebecca.
Who played Diane?
I don't know.
It was really famous in the 80s. I've completely forgotten the name. Anyway.
Don't know.
I was say Cyndi Lauper, but it definitely wasn't Cyndi Lauper.
And
let's pretend it was.
Cyndi
Lauper. Because it was.
It was Maggie Thatcher. And I've got both Coach and Woody Harrelson. Got them both.
Yeah, nice.
Got them both. Yeah, so I mean that's what I spend my evenings doing. It's not bad.
Lovable but dim Woody.
Yeah, and I always go, I better get home to the missus, put it on my tab and that kind of stuff, and then I just go to bed.
And then also, are you in a band where you just do the theme tune from Cheers or whatever?
Am I in a band that does that?
Yeah, I was thinking normcore, like hardcore. So, have you seen that? There's a band and they all dress up like Ned Flanders.
Oh, really?
So I imagine that makes for a hilarious show.
Yeah, I imagine that. Yeah, that'd be good for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's all insufferable, but yeah. I'm sure they're very entertaining, in fairness. But
sure. Hey, look, we're all trying to plough our own furrow, so so that's that, really.
Yes. You done with that?
Yeah, I'm done with that. So, Neil, I'm going to be driving this bus straight over the cliff of knowledge today.
Beautiful.
And so today we're going to be looking at
Golden Waterfall.
Yeah, the Mind Rapids. So we're going to be looking at the unexplained...
Kidneys of facts.
Neil, you can't just do that when I'm trying to introduce
it. Knowledge.
The unexplained disappearance of Frederick Valentich. And Neil, today's story may or may not include vortexes,
ley lines,
aeroplanes, ley lines, UFOs,
parallel dimensions,
love on a farm, ghosts, romance, bereavement, money,
CIA getting involved,
CIA, Nessie, and Ape Man.
Okay.
So it may or may not include all of those, or some of them, or not any of them.
Definitely won't include all of those.
It almost certainly. So I'm going to start off with an article from a website, which is kind of like a magazine that's on your screen, called allthat'sinteresting.com. And it's by Katie Serena. And it was published.
It's good that we let people know about that, because it sounds like that website has everything that could possibly be interesting on it. So you don't need to go anywhere else, do you, after you've found this website?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. So,
yeah. Unless you're interested in uninteresting stuff, which sounds like,
which to be honest, I would imagine our listeners are, because they're listening to this, and that's very interesting. Yeah. So it's published December 17th, 2021, and it was updated, Neil, April the 16th this very year. So it's a hot potato.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, you get much fresher than this.
Whoa. This is fresh off the boat.
Like its yeasty endeavours, whatever that means.
So I'm going to start on that, and then I'm going to do some theories from a different site.
Okay.
So,
what's it all about?
So, though Frederick Valentich vanished almost 40 years ago, his unexplained disappearance still captures the attention of UFO hunters. In 1978, a 20-year-old pilot named Frederick Valentich disappeared. Valentich had been attempting a training flight over the Bass Strait between the Australian mainland and Tasmania, home of the devil.
Was it an Australian fella, or is it US pilot?
You've got as much information as I do at this moment, Neil.
Okay.
I cannot give you any further information until I have digested it. He was flying a Cessna 182L, a light aircraft, and he was a moderately experienced pilot, clocking roughly 150 hours of flying time.
Yeah.
That's moderately experienced.
Yeah. Well, he's only a Cessna, it's only a light airplane.
Yeah, whatever.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. On the evening of October 21st, Valentich departed for a training flight from Moorabbin to King Island, 125-mile trek over the Bass Strait. At 7:06 p.m., Valentich radioed the Melbourne flight services to report an unidentified aircraft following him at 4,500 feet. The service told him there was no traffic near him at the time. Valentich insisted he could see a large unknown aircraft near him, which appeared to have 4 bright landing lights, all illuminated. He claimed it passed 1,000 feet above him, moving at high speed. For another 5 minutes, he reported the aircraft's movements. He claimed it moved towards him, that he thought the other pilot was toying with him, and it was orbiting above him. The only description besides the 4 landing lights that Valentich was able to give was of the aircraft's exterior, which was shiny and also metallic, and that it had a green light on it.
Was it disc-shaped as well?
Again, Neil, I've given you all the information I have.
I'm just speculating.
Okay. To accumulate.
Well, probably not.
To accumulate knowledge.
Yeah.
So a few minutes after its first radioing the Melbourne flight service, Frederick Valentich reported that he was having engine trouble. The radio official asked him once more to identify the other aircraft. "It isn't an aircraft," he managed to respond. "It's not an aircraft, you bastards," he managed to respond.
Oh, wait, it's one of the corks from my hat.
It's a drop bear.
He said, charring down on his VB, like in a Winnie Blue.
So he managed to respond. Right before the transmission was cut off, the last sound the radio officials heard was a metallic scraping sound. Radio officials at the Melbourne flight service assumed that Frederick Valentich had crashed, but an initial sea and air search of the area he was last reported in turned up nothing.
It's like he disappeared.
It is like it's like he disappeared, mate. No worries. The Australian Department of Transport looked into Valentich's
Fucking
disappearance.
dropkick's gone down a ley line, bollocks. Parallel universe. The Reggery.
Well, I did warn him before the flight that there's a lot of vortexes around this area. So they weren't able to find anything, Neil, although it is quite a large area. I'm adding that as a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a bit skepticism there. You've got to dig in.
It's not skepticism. I'm just saying it's a big area.
Some cold, hard facts that they're dealing out for you, and you've got to just undermine it. It's the skeptic.
You know I don't trust Australians.
No, rightly so. After nearly 40 years of neighbours, can never be trusted again. Our current government, we can forget, but we can't forgive. Or is it the other way around? I don't know.
I don't do either.
Yeah, that's true.
So a few scattered reports of civilians seeing a plane landing or flying overhead were collected, but in the end, the disappearance was presumed fateful and the case was closed.
Yes.
But, Neil, the case was far but over.
Far from closed. One more question. How'd you do in Aussie Colombo?
I've got one more question.
One more fucking question, mate. Hold on.
I couldn't help but notice.
How many did all pleasant?
So
You're very clever.
So no touring in Australia?
Yeah, yes. Oh, we don't have any fans over there. It's we've alienated all of them.
Instantly. Anywhere. So 5 years after Valentich went missing, an engine cowl flap washed ashore on Flinders Island. The Bureau of Air Safety Investigations
there we go.
Yeah, noted that the part came from the same type of aircraft Valentich was piloting, and that it had serial numbers within the same range as Valentich's plane.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah. No worries. Don't worry about it, mate.
Nice work.
Stick that in the back of the ute. You got yourself a free cow flap there, mate.
You heading down the bar for a brewski after. Don't even know. Random noise is coming out of my head.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Wow. Now.
I've called the ambulance service.
Yeah.
So after the mysterious disappearance, the public learned from Guido Valentich, Fred's father, that Valentich was an ardent believer in UFOs and often worried about being attacked by one. It's almost like he brought it on himself.
Well, yeah, but in a way, maybe the aliens were being nice. And they were like, no. And the Australian aliens, obviously. I'm just having fun with this accent. Oh, mate,
I'm from the Andromeda system.
Yeah. It's from Sirius Dog Star. Just come round in the
galactic. It's a fucking problem.
Yeah. How you fine with fucking sand?
I just want to do some surgery and some cattle. Oh, that was terrible. I want Geordie there. I just want to do some surgery and some cattle.
Kettle B over there, he's a bit of a wilser, you know what I'm saying? There is some soundly.
That's Newcastle off the books.
Yeah.
So
just city by city.
That's all right. Blanket approach. We have a blanket approach to impressions. They're all bad, and we'll do it for everyone. So no one can feel like they're being picked on.
A flame wielding mob comes down, burns me out of house and home. I'm not going to be happy.
Neil, look, then don't know where you live unless they find out where I live, and then I'm going to give them your address so they'll leave me alone.
I won't leave you alone. They'll shove you on the pie. Don't worry.
Neil, I don't have to run faster than the mob. I just have to run faster than you.
That's easy enough.
Yeah. So it also came out that Frederick Valentich had applied twice to the Royal Australian Air Force and was rejected both times for an adequate educational experience.
Well, he needed more flying time, didn't he, for a start?
Well, maybe.
Maybe a heavier airplane?
Well, it said, but that's inadequate educational experience rather than
partial A
experience.
levels or whatever the Australian equivalent is.
Baccalaureate, I imagine. He was also studying to be a commercial pilot, but had failed his examinations twice. So it sounds like he's flight clever, but maybe not book clever. Or also probably not flight clever because he crashed a plane.
Yeah, he definitely crashed a plane.
Maybe it's UFO clever.
So that's why you need so many flying hours, because it just weeds out all the shit pilots. You know, you put them over the sea for the first 1,000 hours, but they're not going to do it anymore. Just let them weed themselves out. And if they manage to get back, then you let them fly over land.
Very Spartan way of doing it.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, you want to get up in an aircraft, it's dangerous business. Can't be taking other people with you.
It's true. He also received several warnings after flying once into a restricted zone in Sydney and twice into clouds.
So
you're not allowed. So what? You got warnings for flying into clouds. You're in a plane.
Well, presumably, well, no, because it would fuck with your visibility, I suppose, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
because you could crash into someone else. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I assume
no, you don't.
It's quite strict.
Don't never forget that.
Yeah, fuck off, like you know anything. But no, I would imagine
I know all about planes.
Yeah, whatever. Listen, I've played Microsoft Flight Simulator once. Yeah.
Oh, have you? That's more than me. Yeah. Oh, I bow down to your judgment.
Put that in your pipe and fucking smoke it for them.
I once made a paper airplane, didn't fly.
Exactly. If anything, you know, you'd be learning from this guy.
I made a paper airplane and somehow it burst into flames. Don't know what I did wrong. It had no combustible fuel.
No.
Flying into clouds, Neil. You were about to lay some knowledge facts on us.
No, I was speculating that because when you're going out, you're learning or whatever. I imagine it's quite prescribed the route that you're supposed to take. I don't know because it's very heavily controlled, isn't it? Any kind of flight, because you obviously can't have people barging into one another or going through commercial routes or something like that. So do you know what you have probably
for that?
Thought, well, I'm going to have a lovely go through the clouds because they look lovely and fluffy.
Do you know what you have for that, Neil? You have a flight plan.
Yeah.
And do you know how you find out if you followed the flight plan?
Because there's a box that measures what you've been up to.
No, the flight log.
Yeah. Do you have to go like captain's log?
Yes, that's where it comes from.
Currently making sure I don't go through a cloud.
They didn't used to do it before the original series, Star Trek series.
No, exactly. It wasn't based on the Navy or nothing.
It was all it was all biplane to people shoot pistols at each other.
Yeah.
And
record logs.
UFO. What? They've changed the name of UFOs now, haven't they, to make it not UFOs? Yeah. Right. Unidentified something. They've changed the name of it because the Navy.
There's too much stigma.
Yeah, because they came out with during the pandemic with a couple of things where they went, we don't know what it was. Well,
I mean, technically, that's what an unidentified flying object is. Because it is
the Tic Tacs.
Yeah. They called it. Didn't in the war they used to call them Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Which is where that band's name comes from. Because I think that was like something that you couldn't explain.
Other way around. The Foo Fighters in the war were named after the band.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah, because what's his face has been going around for about 100 years, isn't it?
Called UAPs now.
What's that stand for?
Unidentified aerial people.
Projectile, presumably, something like that.
Let's have a quick look. Unidentified flying objects and unexplained aerial phenomena.
Oh, phenomena. Okay, yeah.
Not unidentified aerial people.
Yeah, well.
which would have made more sense.
Yeah, so, if you say so.
Ufologist jumps on the case immediately.
Oh, quite right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they were busy with a lot of other compelling cases.
I'm hoping that bloke who claims he used to run the UFO stuff for the MOD was in it, who's always on Ancient Aliens. I hope he jumped on it. Yeah,
or some of those ones that we came across with the Turkish UFOs. Was that the start of this series, or was it last series? I forget.
It was the first one of this series.
This series, wasn't it? Yeah.
Seems so long ago.
There was a couple of characters in that who were,
Yeah, there was that cat guy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Mouse Man, and then there was Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Listen to that if you want to know what the hell we're talking about. Wouldn't make any more sense to be honest if you do listen all the way through, but we'll give it a go.
So, ufologists jumped on the case immediately, offering claims that he was abducted by aliens. They claimed that there are eyewitness accounts of the green lights that Valentich reported seen moving across the sky in the area he was last reported being. A group in Phoenix, Arizona, also believes that a UFO abduction is a likely explanation. The Ground Saucer Watch claims to have photos taken by a plumber, end of description, that show a fast-moving object moving through the water near the scene of the disappearance. However, the photos have proven to be too blurry to clearly identify the object.
I suppose if you're a ufologist, you're just the hardest job in the world, isn't it? Because
but what I will say, Neil,
cameras get better and better, but the photos are all still so blurry.
What I'll say, though, Neil, remember, this is 1978.
So, I didn't realise we've gone back in time.
No, this is 78 that this whole thing happened. Disappeared.
Okay.
So the photos would presumably have to be from the same time.
Well, indeed. What would they?
Don't know. Vortexes.
When ley lines and vortexes are involved, Chris, no one can rule out any shenanigans.
Yep, turn the board upside down and call your mother. That's what we always say, isn't it, Neil, off camera?
Yes, many a time. The loud saying.
So the case remained a topic of conversation amongst conspiracy theorists for almost 40 years, though no new information was ever collected until 2014.
Extremely compelling, isn't it?
It's extremely compelling.
Yeah, some old drunk on a crop duster smashed it into the sea, probably in UFOs. Might be slightly slandering the gentleman in question.
You are slightly slandering the trainee pilot in a Cessna. A UFO action group in Victoria claimed that an unidentified farmer saw a 30-metre aircraft hovering over his farm the morning after Valentich went missing. He also claimed that Frederick Valentich's missing aircraft was stuck to the side of the UFO, leaking oil. Ooh.
Well, what's he basing that on?
He said he saw it, the farmer.
Oh, okay. So he's seen the
UFO was hovering over his farm, and
with
the aircraft
a
was
biplane
stuck. It's not. Why do you keep saying biplane, Red Baron? It's a fucking Cessna. Yeah. It's a 1978 Cessna. Not Wright
it's
Brothers.
Not. It's 19. I thought you said it was 1917. And he's
78.
We're in the trenches at Gallipoli.
Right. Okay.
Mel Gibson's sprinting down to give some messages.
Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci's coming up with that bike which has a corkscrew.
Well, he's riding it around so they can find curly skulls. Yeah, this is what's happening, isn't it? I live in your reality in your AI art terribly mind, yes. Connected with the real one. To be honest with you, doctors have examined me and said it's all for the best. Just leave it.
You tend to see sort of disparate patterns rather than narratives, don't you? Like Rain Man. So the only problem is that the Victorian UFO group never learnt of the name of the farmer. Since 2013, the group have been searching for him.
Definitely existed.
But have not yet been successful. No, not yet.
Not yet.
Victoria's a big place.
Give it time.
Lots of farmers. If you don't want to be found, you're not getting found. Despite reoccurring reports of UFO sightings and the ufologists insisting that Frederick Valentich's disappearance is of an extraterrestrial relation,
it's cut and dry, isn't it?
There has been no real explanation of his disappearance, which I'm going to contradict that with my next bits of information. Yeah, and the mystery
other than the
continues
wealth of evidence
to haunt Australia's conspiracy theorists today. Well,
okay, I'll find out what really happened then. Get crashed in the sea, mate. Yeah. Job done.
Found a black box 1 minute after. Yeah. So this is from the government actors at planeandpilotmag.com.
Oh, sounds good. Anyway, that could have been better if it had been like Tin the Yowie article.
Yeah, no, it's no lakes in it.
No lakes in it, yeah. Oh, don't get me started on fucking UFOs.
Stand them. Right, so Strange lights before Cessna 182 goes missing. After 42 years, the mystery lingers. The disappearance off the coast of Australia of a low-time UFO-obsessed pilot defies an easy explanation. Or does it?
Or does it? Or is it?
By Desiree Cochis from May 2022. So I'm just going to go through the article. So the mystery, 1978, low time, so I'm assuming that means low hours. Low time Aussie pilot Frederick Valentich flying a rental Cessna 182 vanished after reporting an unidentified flying object circling above him. Could Valentich have fallen victim of a genuine alien abduction, or is it just a lost aircraft?
Or did somebody spike his Halloween candy with LSD?
Well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh,
that'd be a
lovely drug haze.
That would be the real treat.
Oh.
Background.
But don't fly on it.
Don't fly on LSD.
I'll do it if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, as long as it's nowhere near me.
Get those hours in somehow. What? With the amount of hours I've got to get in and the amount of LSD I do, yes. Yeah. So that's a
Venn diagram.
That's a Venn diagram. It's practically a zero.
Crossover.
Sorry, this is going to happen.
So, Neil, it was October 21st, 1978, and the sun was setting into the Australian horizon. At 6:19 p.m., a young pilot named Frederick Valentich took off in a rented Cessna 182L from Moorabout Airport in Victoria. He was en route to King Island, a 130 nautical mile journey over a body of water known as Bass Strait.
It'll be fun.
We know all this. But, Neil, what we didn't know and what they refused to put in the other article is the Strait is famous for its difficult flying conditions.
But this is a low-time pilot, Chris. Surely they wouldn't have known to go over such difficult flying conditions.
Well, I'll tell you why, Neil. But on this night, the skies were clear and the winds calm.
Deceptively calm.
Valentich was eager to make his destination where friends awaited, ready to dine on fresh seafood along the water's edge. Lovely crab.
I'll tell you what, a nice hour or two in a Cessna, that'll sharpen up your appetite.
Oh, 100%. Unless you're drinking. Sadly,
Valentich got to be drinking.
Got to be drinking on a plane.
I'll take the edge off this LSD. Which he definitely consumed.
Sadly, Valentich never made that dinner date, nor any thereafter. At
just out his head on LSD, I'm surprised.
At 7:06, he had eaten his own fingers. At 7:06 p.m., he
ripped off his face and said, "I am the new Lord. Behold my coming.
Behold my glory." So he cited there was an unidentified flying object manoeuvring around him. Seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000, just passed over me at least 1,000 feet above. Valentich was at 4,500 feet. It's approaching right now from due east towards me. It seems that he's played some sort of game. His transmission became odder from there. First, he claimed the other aircraft was completely stationary. Next, he claimed it was orbiting above him. He then reported a rough-sounding engine and the transmission was lost, ending at 7:12 p.m. with a loud metallic noise. Neither Valentich or his craft were ever found. So we're going to go through some theories.
It was seen by a farmer.
UFO theory. To say Valentich was obsessed with UFOs would be putting it mildly. He wasn't just convinced of their existence, he was also convinced they would soon attack Earth. Oh, God.
Oh, this is what this was. This is an Independence Day. So what it was, he saw the mothership who was getting ready to attack Earth, and he flew his biplane into the into the port to blow it up.
It's the Vinci
saving us. This man's a hero.
Yeah, it could be.
He's like drunken old Randy Quaid, who I assume was also pissed on LSD in that film.
So, Neil, some believe he got too close to the truth and was abducted.
Yeah.
Some believe that. While it may seem a bit, out of this world, eyewitnesses alleged that something else was out there that night of his disappearance. One individual claimed to see strange green lights in the sky, similar to the one noted in Valentich's transmission. It's got a green light and sort of metallic, like it's all shiny on the outside. It's just vanished.
You better be careful what he says, or he's going to be vanishing as well.
The following morning, a farmer in Cape Otway An area along the edge of Valentich's flight path observed a flying object hovering over his property. The object was approximately 30 meters long, and it appeared to have a small aeroplane attached to its side. According to the farmer, the attached aircraft was leaking oil. He was so disturbed by what he saw that he etched the aircraft's tail number onto one of his tractors so he wouldn't forget it. The number matched Valentich's Cessna.
Did you explain that, other than the fact that it didn't happen?
Well, that's the main explanation point. So, crash theory. Valentich was an young pilot with grand goals for his aviation career. Unfortunately, it didn't seem such a career would ever happen for him.
Oh.
He was rejected by the Australian Air Force, not once but twice.
Notorious snobs.
He also recently failed his second attempt at passing the commercial flight exam. In his mere 150 flight hours, Valentich had been involved in 3 in-flight incidents. One where we've already said.
Yeah.
The second one, he deliberately...
You want to fly through a cloud, come on.
The second one, he deliberately flew into clouds, it says here, and he was under threat of prosecution for that. You flying into a cloud, I'm going to see you in fucking court. So flying over the water into the setting sun can be disorientating.
Doesn't play by the rules.
Move it to the limit.
He would have been an excellent military pilot. Take you into the danger zone.
So, flying over water into the setting sun can be disorientating for even the best pilots. Never mind someone with Valentich's history.
Oh, what a low timer. Yeah.
Oh, low time.
Oh, we tried a low timer.
What are you doing? Like, low timer.
Probably get fucking abducted by UFO.
Go and clean me boots.
See you clinging to the side of a fucking UFO.
Go and wax my fucking ute, low timer. I'll show them all.
Oh.
Instead of focusing on critical flight tasks, he instead seemed distracted by fanciful delusions of a UFO. While the four lights he observed above him could have belonged to another aircraft, it's more likely they were the lights of Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the bright star called Antares. That's where the UFOs were from.
Ooh.
According to his transmission, Valentich began circling his aircraft at some point in a bank. It's possible he fell victim to the tilted horizon illusion, becoming disoriented. He could have either entered into a graveyard spiral or even have become inverted. The green light he observed was likely his own being reflected off the water. Given the gravity-fed fuel system of the Cessna 182, his engine would have quickly become deprived of fuel, explaining why his transmissions in the end sounded rough. Staged disappearance theory.
Mm.
The night Valentich disappeared, police received several reports of an unidentified aircraft landing at Cape Otway. Assuming Valentich followed the flight plan he filed, he would have been in the Cape's general vicinity at the time he began transmitting with the air flight service. It is possible that Valentich, frustrated by his failing aviation career, fabricated a UFO sighting in order to stage his own disappearance. Not only would an abduction serve to validate his UFO conspiracies, but it would also give him a fresh start in an otherwise troubled life.
Seems not a bit of a reach, but you never know.
More so than a UFO?
I mean, not that big of a reach, but, I mean, it's still, just crashed his planes feels like a more...
Oh, the truth, question mark, Neil.
Well, how are they working that out? So the plane went... I mean, the point is the plane is missing, isn't it?
How are they working out that he might have landed it?
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So they said an unidentified one landed elsewhere. So they think he might have just landed his plane...
Yeah,
other than where he was supposed to be landing, and then okay.
Yeah,
then you think somebody would have seen I suppose he could have. I don't know. How did the plane disappear?
Look, you've got to remember that when you're out in when you're out of
Bingo ate that plane.
when you're out of the major cities in Australia, you can make a plane disappear. You could
don't worry about it.
Change the plates, whatever. It's a big country, man.
I've seen Mad Max, Chris. I know what goes on.
Yeah, exactly. And that was when it used to be good.
Yeah.
It's terrible now. So Valentich was, so this is the truth in planeandpilotsmag.com's opinion. Valentich was not a victim of an alien abduction, but rather a victim of himself. Aren't we all, Neil? Aren't we
So
all?
many ways.
The farmer's story, while riveting, didn't surface until 36 years later, after Valentich's disappearance. In fact, despite
Also, it wasn't particularly riveting, to be honest with you.
No. Yeah. It was a new one. I haven't heard of UFOs with planes stuck to the side.
No, that's true.
In fact,
not one of them aircraft carriers there in those Marvel movies.
Yeah, maybe it's just refueling.
Yeah.
So, in fact, despite
giving them a lift,
ufologists' best efforts, such a farmer has never been found. As for the eyewitnesses who claim to have seen a green light in the sky that night, they didn't make their claim until after the newspapers already reported on Valentich's, noting a green light in his transmission. Sadly, it would seem the aircraft observed over Cape Otway wasn't landing, but instead crashing into surrounding waters. Valentich's obsession with UFOs had simply got the better of him. While his aircraft was never recovered, in 1983, an engine cowl flap washed ashore on Findler's Island. The Bureau of Air Safety Investigation concluded the part came from a Cessna 182 between a certain range of serial numbers, including that of the one Valentich had been flying that fateful night. And that really is it, Neil.
So the blindingly obvious happened then. Or did it? Or did it?
Or did it?
Or did he disappear into another dimension?
I like to think he landed it and is now Tim the Yowie Man.
Yeah, I like to think that he found a source of fuel that was never ending and he's still up there.
Really?
Just having a lovely flyer. He just flies around constantly.
Clocking up the hours. I'll show him. I'll show him.
I'll have more hours than anyone on Earth. In his 10,000th circumnavigation of the planet.
What's he eating? Seagulls that he plucks out?
Also, he can fuel himself, you see.
Fuel himself?
With this never-ending source.
I mean, this does just sound like someone who's on LSD and actually they're not fueling themselves and they haven't been up there for that many hours.
Yeah. It feels like he's been up there for 30 years, but 5 minutes.
Yeah, tripping for about 5 minutes.
Oh, that was some good stuff.
So Neil, really, that is the story. It's not. There's not lots to it, but shall we go through our scoring system?
Bad pilot crashed into the sea. I don't know. It might have been a good pilot.
Fucking low timer.
Low timer.
So Neil,
yes,
it's going to be. It's going to be
spookiness.
It's going to be a big one. Spookiness. Go for it.
I think this might be our first 80 out of 80. I don't think so, Dr. Jones. Okay, so let's try and reach a little bit with this one because it's not striking me as particularly spooky off the face of it.
It doesn't have to. Not everything has to be everything. It's a problem with you kids.
Well, no, I'm just trying to give it a fair shout and say it's not. I mean,
do you find? So, I guess the starting point is: do you find
gravity's quite spooky, isn't it?
Do you find the idea of the Earth being sort of secretly visited by
aliens to be
unknowable with aliens from other planets?
Inscrutable aliens with who knows what?
Why are you inscrutable alien from beyond the moon?
Who knows what agendas?
Yes, we don't know their agenda. We don't know what they're out for.
I kind of don't. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's because you want to have sex with an alien, isn't it? Of course.
Well, ever since I saw Captain, William Shatner's
ever since you saw the film Alien.
What is this? Yeah, yes, an alien. Acid for blood. Yes, please. That you like.
the pleasure and the pain.
Yeah, ain't you a kinky one?
Saucy mistress.
Hey, Joe Geiger joined the table.
Don't mind if one does.
Little pleasure and pain.
A little of what's salty and a little of what's sweet. And the pleasure is when shall meet.
It's not drawing out the score. Right. No, I don't find it that spooky. I find it that spooky. I suppose, for some people, I suppose it should be. But also, no, it's going to be a 2 for me. It's not making the hairs in the back of my neck stand up and end.
So 2. So I think that I inherently find aliens and UFOs quite spooky. I don't know why I don't. I sometimes have nightmares or kind of dream nightmares of that suddenly there are UFOs like flying around and everyone's fucking bricking it, and it's like, oh, like, because it's unknown. Like, what do we do? It's unknowable. Do you know what I mean? So I find that quite somewhere in my subconscious I find that spooky.
Okay.
Because I don't have like nightmares very often, or about demons and or Pigman. I have very pleasant dreams, very pleasant daydreams,
erotic dreams about Pigman.
Very erotic. Very
certain films that you've.
Are we going truffling?
Or something you can root out and get to enjoy, swallow it. It's just set into a fucking carry-on.
It's not a carry-on film. This wouldn't get past the censors. I
don't know. I think Sid James would be up for it.
But yeah, I do find UFOs a bit spooky. Now, this story itself, not really, because it sounds like if anything happened, it was him crashing into the solitary UFO.
Just drunkenly smashed into one.
Which then also makes me think that they're not as advanced as they make out to be. What's happened? Some cunt bumped into the side of us.
It's crashed into a yeet. Galaxy yeet.
I should have taken so much alien LSD. But yeah, so the UFO bit's spooky. So the disappearing plane, not so much happens. Small planes, it happens. I'm not going to say frequently, but not infrequently. Smaller planes can kind of disappear.
They're more like if they get turbulence or something, they're going to be more susceptible to those kind of effects.
Absolutely no. So but because of the UFO bit, I'm going to give it a 5 because I do find UFOs a bit spooky.
Yeah, fair enough.
Although I don't know, I would quite like to know if they did or didn't exist. I'm very much erring on they don't.
Yeah,
but I'm not 100% on it.
Hey,
Hey, man, don't worry about it. You don't have to be sure of everything.
It could be like Bowie aliens. Come down to blow your mind.
No, UFOs only just UAPs definitely do. Unidentified aerial people. So, believability. So I'm basing this on is it believable that it was a UFO abduction? I don't. It probably wasn't. If I'm being honest, it was probably a crashed plane. But what it's got is in its corner is it like there was a plane, there was this bloke.
Yeah,
it did disappear. Right, so it has actually got some solid facts in it, which a lot of stuff doesn't. So that's all believable. So that gives it some believability. Now, what happens with the disappearance UFO thing? Probably not. But I'm going to like the fact that there's actually stuff there and things happened. Does give it. It more so than most. There's actually some things here. So I'm going to give it a 5 again. Neil.
Okay. I mean, the problem for me is the only thing that actually ties it into the UFO thing is the fact that he was a ufologist or he was, a believer himself. Because otherwise, it's just
wasn't a ufologist.
Well, not a ufologist, but he was.
He was a UFO enthusiast. No, I didn't spend 5.
I corrected myself.
I didn't spend 5 years at UFO university for him to be called a ufologist.
Exactly. You didn't pay all that money to UFO university to a fake degree.
Care of Roswell. P.O. box.
But no, the fact that because the thing is, I mean, people vanish all the time, and the only thing that sort of ties this in with a potential UFO is a load of sightings that were made up after the fact. So it just feels like they've kind of jumped on it and tried to twist it into. So the only thing that makes it sound like, it's just the only thing that ties in a little bit is the fact that he himself believed in this stuff as well, or allegedly. I don't know. Maybe that's another reinvented after the fact thing.
Maybe the UFOs dropped those articles afterwards.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
using alien technology.
Disappeared that farmer up right sweet. Can't even find a trace of him anymore.
Maybe he was an old farmer and they cocooned him.
Yeah.
Could be.
Come up with this and you and Wilford Brimley.
Would you do it if the premise of cocoon happened?
So if I was like 75 or something like...
Yeah, and they went, well, you come with us, you could go and live with alien planet, you'll be young.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course you would.
Of course you would.
Well, and the kids are all
going, go and see something new.
But we don't want to lose you. Yeah, well,
I'm Granddad's going to go and have spacesuits, isn't it?
Yeah, but, exactly.
Like out of town.
Selfish
little cunt.
I've grown fairly attached to you as well, but I quite like the idea of immortality, so fuck off. See you never, dickheads.
You're all right. You're not immortality good. You know what I mean?
Nothing is.
Exactly.
Literally nothing.
Oh yeah, immortality. Become a vampire, go with aliens.
Anything.
Anything's fine.
Anything. Kill 1,000 people to get an extra minute's life. I'm on it. Yes, please. Sign me up.
I sign up. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot what question I'm answering now.
Believability.
Yes, believability. Yeah, that's what sort of takes it down a bit low. But as you say, I mean, yes, this person did exist. Yes, the plane did disappear. But I'm going to give it a 4.
4, okay. So narrative premise, Neil. On you go.
I mean, yeah, there's a few things here, I guess. Like UFOs are popular with the cool kids, aren't they? With their twin peaks,
with their varsity jackets on,
the varsity jackets and the grease back hair, and their
Jeezys.
Yeah,
they're drinking their bubble tea.
Oh, I must have some bubble tea at some point.
I had some for the first time when my cousin Katie came down a few weeks back.
What did you think? Not bubbles.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of bubble tea shops open in Brighton. Like they're next to vape shops. I think the bubble tea shops are the second.
A lot of vape shops in Brighton.
There's a lot of bubble tea shops as well now, and it feels quite like it's okay. It's a novelty.
New clothes. Does it taste much different, or is it because obviously
what you've got is you've got like a nice. So the drink itself is like a nice tea drink, whatever flavour you got, and then it's got like the pearls. So what they are is they've just got flavours in them. They just burst. They've got flavours.
You can make things that make spherical. It's these like a lot of chefs got into this trend a while back.
Yeah, or like
you can buy a machine that literally just turns it to like orange juice into little.
Yeah, so it's got like a coat. No, I don't know, like a coat, a membrane, and then you pop it in your mouth and you get that flavour.
Yeah, burst or whatever. Yeah,
it's very much like the 1990s thing of having those balls that you put in your bath and they released an oil.
Yes, bath bombs.
Yeah, not bath bombs. That's a different thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So these things, like the membrane would dissolve and it would release an essential oil.
Whereas
bath bombs just fizz up. They fizz on impact. This is all about UFOs, people. It'll come round in a second, don't worry.
Don't worry. We'll tire ourselves out.
You get
get back to the point.
So you get those, and I mean, if you find eating a Mars bar too sweet, like you're not going to get on with this. Like this, like they are so sweet. It's like like raw cordial sweet.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, and you get like tapioca balls as well. So you've got like chewy ones, and they're quite nice, but. I'm glad I've tried it because I've tried it, but I've not rushing down to have any more.
Yeah, I won't. I probably won't.
Give it a go, Neil.
I'll definitely.
You're only alive once.
I would definitely give it a go.
I'll go with you if you're scared and hold your hands, and I'll have another one.
No, I'm just. I haven't had an occasion to try.
No, there isn't really an occasion to try one.
No, I just mean I haven't been near a bubble tea shop or whatever where I've kind of been in the mood to go and have a drink. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best thing to have if you want a drink, Probably just get a bottle of water or something. But yeah,
no, but do you know what I mean? Like you might like go and get a coffee before you get to work or something like that. I've not, there's not a bubble tea establishment where I could get that.
Turn up and instantly get demoted.
But it's so much fun.
The actuaries are a bit worried.
Crusty superiors where I work, just not I don't like that.
You turn up in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, Hawaiian shirt, just dancing around, and all the rest of the staff love it.
Yeah, exactly.
The crusty CEO,
like Uncle Buck or something.
Footloose.
Yeah, like Footloose. And
dancing on the desks.
And bubble tea because someone had a sugar rush, diabetic coma with one and crashed a car. Yeah, they're okay.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, so bubble tea.
Score out of 10, Chris?
What, a bubble tea?
Yeah.
4?
Yeah, fair enough. Right.
Maybe.
What am I scoring again? Are we still on believability?
A generous 4. We're on narrative premise.
Or narrative premise, I was going to say.
Unbelievably, cool kids like UFOs and bubble tea.
Yeah. I forgot what the point of all that was.
The cool kids like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the Greg's vegan sausage rolls.
They haven't got time for another rabbit hole. No, I think there's potentially some you could build on this, I think is what I'm thinking. So you've got the classic UFO story. They've got some guy who got his aspiration, he's going to become a pilot one day, and he's had a few knockbacks. But yeah.
Now, would this, so I've just found this. Would it help its cause at all if some people have sometimes referred to that area as the Bass Strait Triangle? Because because there's been a few disappearances there,
around there,
including yachts.
It doesn't surprise me. I'm not like off the coast of Australia. It's a huge country, so.
That and between there and Tasmania,
I can imagine. So yeah, I'm just imagining some sort of Flight of the Navigator scenario where he sort of becomes a child again and then becomes a great pilot, and then
I've got that film on DVD for some reason.
Have you?
Yeah.
I saw it when I was a kid. I can't imagine watching it again.
Do you want to borrow it?
No.
Sure.
Do you know what? It's one of those things. Like
don't ruin it.
Well, exactly. I don't want to rewatch E.T. because I hope I'd still watch it and find it kind of magical or whatever. And I'm sure I'm such a fucking prick these days because I saw that in the cinema with my dad and my brother, and it's kind of like it was like you really got involved with it. It's like magic cinema and all of that. And I think if I watched it now at my decaying age, I'd just be like,
I'm like that with Human Centipede,
isn't it? No, I've always got time for Human Centipede.
I don't want to ruin the magic.
Get better and better. Yeah, nice. No, trust me, it stands out.
Give me a score. Come on, narrative premise. Just give me a
6.
number now.
Just 6. Yeah.
Fine. Absolutely fine.
Don't care what. It doesn't matter. Just the fucking numbers.
So
add them up at the end.
So it's okay. I like all the stuff about him being constantly failing before doing this, and I like the idea that maybe he decided to start a new life.
So ultimately fail. Actually, that was the bit I didn't hook up on. I like the idea that maybe he just it was like an insurance scam or something like that. I think you could do it.
Yeah, so there's some stuff there. And I mean, it is the first one where we've got a UFO potentially taking a plane, so that's fairly all right. So I'm going to give it a 6 as well now.
Nice.
So Reach. So it seems within aviation circles to be fairly well known. So that's good, isn't it, Neil?
There's a disclaimer.
And within UFO circles, it seems to be fairly well known.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it's not. Do you know what? Like, it's not crossed the Rubicon into the mainstream. I'll put it that way.
No.
So I don't know how well it's known outside of Australia and stuff, particularly. I mean, outside of pilots certain circles. That's not a big one, Neil. And it's not that old, so I'm gonna give it a 2. Naughty.
Yeah, I'm not trying to justify this too much, but it's a 3 for me. I don't it doesn't feel intrinsically like it's got that much range. I mean, we didn't go through. I'm assuming he was never in an episode of Supernatural or had any TV or theatre or books written about it or whatever.
There were some books. It's involved in some books.
And by book, I mean literally like a proper novel, not like fucking some nutter writing about ufology or whatever.
Difficult to sell these days, but there has been some books. But that's it. So 3. So that's 33.
By saying nutter replacing ufology, I'm in no way I'm saying that I'm sceptical about.
No, absolutely not.
Revealing an inherent bias or anything.
No, but the thing, but I'm probably slightly less biased
so all evens out,
than you. So it all evens out. That's why we're both here, really.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm a bit more sceptical about hellmouths, whereas you 100% believe in them.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's
30. It's the way forward, Chris. That's
33, Neil. 33, all the threes.
33?
33. It's not too bad, really.
Do you know what? It's all right. They can't all be big numbers.
Well, I'm glad that we're getting some lower ones because we were hitting a bit.
Had a bit of a streak of too many in the middle.
Too many higher ones in the 50s and stuff. We were batting above where our average.
Like Icarus, we were soaring too high.
Needs to be at this point of the season,
close
really.
To the sun. Yeah.
Less like waxy wings.
And waxy wings melteth into the ocean like a low timer pilot.
Yeah. So if you're a low timer pilot, please feel free to give us a shout at
Get your arms up safely.
podcast@gmail.com. But apart from that, if you are taking LSD and flying, just
have a great time, really. Just enjoy it.
Enjoy yourself. Just do it over the sea.
Just let what happens happen. Yeah.
Do it over the sea. Or what you perceive to be the sea at that point during your trip. And that'll be it for this week. We will see you 8 p.m. Tokyo time next Thursday. Goodbye.
Goodbye.